welcome back to my channel. So in today's video, I wanted to get started going through this book that I have. First off, I'm still going through my own journey of recovery, and I have to say, you know what I mean? Right now, I'm only working part-time, and I'm not even in school again yet, and I'm pretty broke, but I'm still, I'm okay. I'm doing really well, and I think I owe part of that not only to my psychologist, but to this book. And I just really thought it would be really helpful for everyone, every one of my viewers, if we worked out of this book, if I worked out of this book with you guys. The book is called The Courage to Heal. It's a guide for women survivors of child sexual abuse. It's by Helen Bass and Laura Davis. See, this was given to me at a very rough point in my life, and I gotta be honest, it wasn't given to me by one of my favorite people, I dare say, but it's quite a journey reading it, and it's so helpful, and I can't wait to share it with you guys. See, what I like about the book is, before it even gets into any of the in-depth discussions, obviously throughout the book, there's stories from actual survivors, and things of that nature. Or when you first open the book, it's very encouraging. It explains that healing is completely possible and will be very evident as you get deeper and deeper into the book. What I also like is it gives you a caution or a forewarning that, you know, a lot of the topics in this book are very heavy and they're hard to read. Believe me, coming from someone who's read it, that's absolutely true. And they tell you, you know, and I will say it frequently throughout the life of this channel, that you should always have someone to lean on, especially when it comes to your mental health. And if you read through this book, or even if you guys don't purchase the book or read it or whatever, which I do highly suggest, just being here with me and going through it with me may be very triggering, and you should always have someone you can go to. And I would just like to say that, and it also says it in the book, that although the stories are geared towards women, specifically women who survive child sexual abuse, a lot of the coping mechanisms and a lot of the things they talk about when talking about abuse can really apply to anyone. Just normal victims of abuse, maybe even, you know, homicide survivors, suicide survivors, people who were abused later on in life, either sexually or just physically, verbally, mentally. It also applies to male or anyone who identifies as anything on the spectrum who was sexually assaulted. And I highly encourage that, you know, this isn't just geared towards women, this channel. This is geared towards everybody. Don't get me wrong, there will be times where I focus on just, you know, women's mental health, men's mental health, trans mental health, things like that. But a lot of the lessons in this book apply to everybody. One of my other favorite things about this book, before you even dive into it, is it gives you two ideas for coping mechanisms as you're going throughout the book, because a lot of the other coping mechanisms that they talk about and teach you within the book, obviously you don't get to until you get deeper into the book. And the writers know that going through the book is very stressful, or it can be very stressful, it can be very mentally taxing because of the strong themes throughout the book. And so their two forms of coping mechanisms are to write and to listen to guided imagery. You guys already know that I am a big enthusiast when it comes to writing as a form of therapy. Some of the great perks about writing in a journal is that, you know, sometimes when, especially late at night, I know a lot of people, or a lot of my friends that are similar to me, that struggle with anxiety or depression or PTSD or what have you. They're often up late at night, and, you know, you can be up until 3, 4 in the morning, and, you know, everyone else is asleep and the world's asleep around you. And when you don't have someone you can go to right away, you have your journal. It's quiet, it's discreet, it's portable, you can take it anywhere with you. It helps you when you need to say how you feel. I think writing, especially when you're angry or scared or anxious about something, it helps you better articulate what you need to say or need to get out. When it comes to writing, I feel like there's a big stigma with writing that, you know, you have to be talented, you have to write a certain way, but you really don't. Especially if it's your own private journal, you're writing for you, you're not writing for anyone else. So don't be afraid that what you're writing is stupid or inarticulate. Don't get me wrong, I try to stay as completely honest and genuine on this channel as I possibly can, but sometimes I do write things down. It's sort of scripted because this is a very serious topic and I don't want to come across as silly, because there's so much going on in my head and there's so many things I want to say that I don't always articulate it right, so I write it down. And I know some people, especially myself, you have a fear, especially if you've had journals before or you've written things down that were private and they were kind of put on blast by other people. That's happened to me before, and you know, you might not be trusting to write anything down, and believe me, I've been there. But especially now as adults, or if you're older, or even if you've been through the situation, you know, you're older and more mature because of the situation, you know, you have more control over it now. And obviously if you're too nervous to write because of, you know, for whatever reasons, that's fine, but you know, everyone needs self-expression, and what I love about the journal is it's there for you when you need it, and those who use it benefit from it enormously. The book also talks about, you know, choosing a time and place when to write, because it helps really ensure that your time with writing is uninterrupted. It also helps ensure that you have complete control over the situation, especially with such a serious and uncomfortable topic for a lot of people. You want to be able to have as much control over it as you possibly can. Picking when and where you write is also very important, because whatever you're writing or whatever comes up when you're writing can be very upsetting or, you know, emotionally taxing. So you don't want to do it at a time where you have to go and do something else right afterwards, like pick up the kids from school or go to work or go to school or whatever, you know, whatever's going on in your life. You don't want to do it at a time that you'll have to hop right back into life, because that's really unfair to you, and that'll just be more damaging. All that hard work you put into writing and facing what's on your mind will kind of go to waste. When you write, I think it's really good to have like maybe a ritual, because, you know, if you had, like, say, like, before you write, you make a cup of tea, or you take a shower, or, you know, you get ready for bed and you get comfy in bed. You know, if you do a ritual before and after, it kind of gives you something to associate with the writing, so you kind of know how to prepare yourself for the situation comfortably. Or afterwards, you can do, you know, you first do something calming before you write, and then afterwards you do something fun. It might even be helpful afterwards to write about something happy, or draw, or do something that makes you happy, because when you talk about such a serious topic, especially something that's happened to you, again, like I said, it can be very emotionally taxing, and it can be hard to pull yourself away from it. So it's kind of, you know, these rituals before and after help you kind of set a timeline and help you pull away from the situation. And like I said before, the book also offers different ways to cope and different therapy techniques in order to help you through your difficult time. I also like that the book says, and I quote, "Writing is helpful, but sharing is important." And when you share, make sure you do it with somebody you really love and trust. It can be your therapist, it can be your sister or your brother, it can be your best friend, it can be your grandmother, it doesn't matter. But before you share it with them, tell them what you need. Like, tell them what you need out of the situation. Maybe you want to hear their opinions, their honest opinions. Maybe you don't want to hear their opinions at all and you just need support. If you tell them beforehand what you need out of the situation, you're more likely to get a more comforting response, or the response that you need or want. The same thing goes for the guided imagery. It should be at a time where you are uninterrupted, at a time where you don't have to rush to do something right afterwards. It should be planned out beforehand. Whether you do like a guided meditation with your therapist or with a friend or what have you, or you're listening to like a podcast or a recording or whatever, whoever's talking, they should be talking very slow. Their words and their sentences should be a little spaced out to give you time to kind of process what's coming up in your head as you're listening to the guided imagery. And you know, you have to experiment, find what guided imagery helps you the most. You know, like for instance, some people like music in the background, some people don't. You just have to see what works for you. It's okay if you can't actually see what the people are describing in the guided imagery, because I actually learned recently that people who can like visually see something, like artistic people, they have an idea in their head and they can see it and they can put it down on paper. And some people have an idea in their head but can't really articulate it because they can't necessarily see it. And it's okay if you're not one of those people who can see whatever they're, describing. All you have to do is listen to the words and take in the words and just kind of let your mind go where it will. And I think with the guided imagery, it may take some time to kind of get used to it and be able to clear your head enough that you can listen to it, or allow it to clear your head enough that you can listen to it. So, and that's again why you should always do it at a time where it's uninterrupted and you can give your undivided attention to it and to healing yourself. So that was pretty much my introductory into the book of The Courage to Heal, and what topics we'll be exploring as we go throughout the book. The next video I want to do just a quick writing exercise with you guys, and I have a lot of great things to come from this book, and I'm really excited to share with you guys. Thank you guys so much for watching, and if you like this video, please hit that like button and subscribe, and I will see you in my next video.